Hello, this is Rodrigo from Frame Freak Studio, and this is the Ask Frame Freak show. And today's question is, how did Frame Freak Studio started? So, this is something that when I got this question was like, should I talk about this? Should I not talk about it? At the end, I think it will help you get some better idea of things that you can do to build on your idea and your dream and whatever. So I'm going to talk about it. So pretty much is, I started in learning first how to socialize, because I was an introvert for most of my life. Like the first 25 years of my life was me trying to not socialize with people. And the thing was like, at that point, it had become like too much trouble to be like that. It was causing too much problems in my life and getting me to hang around with people who were not like so mentally stable. So I had to start like socializing, and I started learning from big artists and millionaires and things like that, and try to apply all this knowledge into my life. And it was like very weird for the first 2 years. But at the end, it was like, started stabilizing. But something that started happening to me while I started socializing is that I saw all these guys that I was learning from having like really amazing life, traveling through the world, having adventures, things like that. Of course, I was in a third world country, and I was like man, I want to do that. Like, I want to have this time. I want to have these experiences, but I don't know how to do this type of money to do this. I don't have these skills. But something in me like woke up by doing all this, and the logic also became easier. And the logic outside of me just told me like, okay, like just keep following these guys, and eventually, I don't know what's going to come up, but something's going to come up that is going to be your opportunity. And sure enough, like after like 4 years into this, one of these guys removed himself from the social part, and this guy was Timothy Mark. He was my first mentor, who started talking about the first 4-hour work week and all these things about entrepreneurship online. And I had many friends. I had always this idea of putting my own business here, but I also had many friends who had put their own business and who got robbed, shot, stabbed, killed because some gang members tried to rob their business, and very bad things happened. So that pretty much killed my idea of trying to put a business, because I didn't want to have gangs coming to me. But when I saw the opportunity of business online, like not having to put my face out here, that I could build a business that nobody's going to know about myself, and I could sell and get clients and all that from outside. So that was very tempting. That was like, at this point I knew as well that I wouldn't get a job in this country that will allow me to live the life that I wanted to live. So pretty much I joined in this group of guys who teach about entrepreneurship and start my own business that was about websites and web apps and things like that. I didn't have any passion for this though. It was just like practical. I just took it because I knew that this sells. Like, I mean, everybody needed a website, and eventually everybody needed an app as well. So I knew it will sell, and I knew it was easy for me to do, and I knew people who could do it, so I just jumped into it. And because I didn't care about this business, I was able to build on the skills, because I was able to test a lot, to do a lot of tests and strategies, and change the site and test many things. I didn't care. I really didn't have no attachment to that business. And that was my, the best thing that I could have done at the beginning, because since I didn't care about this business, I was able to experiment the shit out of it for 3 years. And the thing is that there was at this moment the other co-founder of Frame Freak Studio had joined into this context called Pixels, where he won, and he got like a 30K prize first for this project Fafnir. And the thing is that at the beginning, the idea of him Like the idea was that you were going to build this project and then you were going to take it into an event in the outside, and somebody was going to see your project and say like, hey, your project rules, I want to buy it, and you will have like a lot of money. So he went through it, and for him, being the intelligent person that he is, it was like, from the first moment, it was very obvious that he's like, okay, this is not happening. Like, nobody's going to buy Fafnir on the first go on just one event on the on another country. So for the second time he participated, it was for Tempest Trip, and this time he wanted to take more active action into funding this shit. So he knew I was doing business, and I was a lot into online business stuff. And he came to me and said like, hey, what can we do with this shit? Like, how can we fund this through another means that are faster and more effective? And we started to analyze, and at the end, we decided back then that we were going to do the Kickstarter. And that's very much when we joined forces and started working with the projects. And funny, because many people told him like what he was doing, like joining with me, that I wasn't going to help him at all. And like a couple of months later, we had the interview with Fred Siebert, which was great because he's one of the 3 most important people in the animation industry right now. And that helped to get Stephen Silver, and that helped us to get the guys from the reward. And through Stephen Silver, we also get Bobby Chu, and through Bobby Chu, we got Robert Kondo. And pretty much this started like a chain of things. And at this time, we didn't even have a name, we didn't have a website, we didn't have anything. At this point, we didn't even thought of the idea of creating a studio. At this moment, we were like 6 months in, and everything was just the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter. Then we won another project, that it was the Piñata Slayer project for $55,000. And at this point, the rules of this competition changed, and I was pretty much in the street. In a card game, in a lot of heat, and it was 3 in the afternoon, and on a Friday, and Edmundo called, and it was like, hey, these guys want us to open a business in the next week, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to open a business here, like the laws here sucks, and there is going to be a lot of bureaucracy, but it was something that we needed it needed to be done. So for us, this is something that we work well with Mundo, because for us it's like, okay, if we're going to jump into this shit, we're going to do it correctly. We're going to go all in. We're not just going to open a business just to get out of the requisites. So at that moment, pretty much he asked me, are you in or are you out? And I just thought like 5 seconds of it. In my mind, it raced like through a lot of thoughts and say, yeah, I'm in, like, let's do this shit. And that's pretty much, at that point I knew that we were going to jump into this game that I tried to avoid for like the last 3 years of my life, but it was what needed to be done. And this is pretty much our philosophy, like every time that we act, depending on the facts that we have right now, like we never do something if it doesn't need to be done right now, and that is not going to help us on the long term. At the time we opened the business, like we started getting into all the reports and all these things, and at some moment it was like, okay, like there was this friction where I had Epic Web Studio that was taking some time for me, and I had Frame Freak Studio, which also was taking a lot of time from me, and it got to the point where it wasn't stable for me to hold both. So I decided to close Frame Freak Epic Web Studio. I launched my last test on it just to see if I could get a little bit more money. Didn't work, and say, okay, let's close this shit, and close the Epic Web Studio, and decided to focus completely on Frame Freak Studio. That was a couple of months ago. And then pretty much we saw Atlas coming up as well. This was an opportunity to register our business in the US and be able to have all the internet tools to our disposal. And we already have the registered business here in El Salvador with no tools at our disposal, pretty much a lot of laws that actually held us back. And so this was like the exit. Like this was like, okay, let's do this shit. Like, and we jump in. And this is something that we do as well. Like every time there is a good opportunity, we jump in. And I did this with Pioneer as well when it was able to look up with PayPal. And I do this a lot. And I see a lot of people who see the opportunity and they don't try to jump in. They try to let others do the thing first. And when they try to jump in, it's not as good as it was in the beginning. So we jump in. We pretty much were one of the first guys who got into the beta program. So we didn't have to pay to have our business registered in Delaware. So pretty much it was free. So we are now a corporation in Delaware. We are now an LLC in El Salvador. We have this business register, and pretty much at this point, after that, after we jump into creating the business, we improved the website, we did great branding and all that, and because we already had all these good interviews with these other guys, and we have a nice looking website, and we have all this good work already put into this, the website actually became like a spring that helped us to reach bigger and bigger guys like Brenda Chapman, Tom Moore. Like Tom Moore was the first interview that we had right after we improved the website. And now people going to the page of our show, it's like, oh, holy shit, look at all these people. Like, and now we have like a big name behind it, and everybody's talking, oh, Frame Freak Studio, like they are doing this such great things. But pretty much it started with the work. Like it pretty much it was just like jumping into it, not fearing about it, and just doing the things that we needed to be that needed to be done. Like not being too romantic about our process or what we wanted to do, because many of the times the things that we need to do is not what we want to do, but it needs to be done anyway. So that's it. Like that is the history until now, and now we are in Delaware. Now we are here in El Salvador. Now we are getting the Kickstarter. Part of me wants to show the page of the Kickstarter right now to all of you, but there is a lot of things that we need to finish first. And part of me wants to show you the first episode of Temple Strip, and it's excited because all these things all the hardship that we had to pull through. Like it's getting, like we're getting to the final point, where the point that we have been working for the last years, like, and it feels like everything was connected, like from the learning how to socialize has helped me to connect with these guys, and that got me to get into business, and that got me to get into Frame Freak, and all these things. So it's pretty much just following the things that we need to be done and get it done as soon as possible. Not trying to be too attached to what we want to do or whatever, and just do the things that take direct action. So this is pretty much the history. I hope you like it. I hope you got some lessons out of it as well. And if you like this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our fan page. Until next time.